So I went back and listened to the Election Day special again, and it's as funny as I remember. But yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants to listen to it because they don't want to be reminded.
Fair.
I think the Def Leppard episode is just as funny anyway, and it's less traumatic.
Which album did you do for Def Leppard?
Pyromania.
Pyromania.
Nice.
None of us liked it.
Really?
Yeah, we all hated it.
You like that one, Dan?
I'm a closet Def Leppard fan, but only the early stuff. They had 3 tremendous songs before they really hit it.
I actually do like On Through the Night. I think that's a decent album. Mm-hmm. The one with the truck on it.
I think the one that I liked the most songs from was, I think it might have been Pyro. Is Pyromania the one that has Photograph and...
Yeah.
Okay, Foolin'.
Maybe we should have had you on as a dissenting
as the
opinion.
dissenting opinion.
I think you should have. My goodness.
Well, I didn't. I wouldn't have thought that you would listen to Def Leppard.
Oh yeah.
That would have been funny. Like,
Grew up with that shit.
Well, Adam had a dissenting opinion too.
Yeah.
Did he? I can only imagine Adam's dissenting opinion.
What was his dissenting opinion?
Dude, the drummer only has one arm, man. How is that even possible?
Adam said he had an attachment to it because somebody that babysat him, and like that was the first time he discovered weed or something.
Aww, so, that's so cute.
He said it in the Election Day special.
Oh my gosh!
But then
cute.
when we recorded the episode, he didn't disagree with me that every guitar solo was boring and did exactly what you thought it was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder though, like Dan, you probably remember when that album came out. Like maybe it wasn't as predictable back then.
It wasn't. It was huge, and in the context of the time, having come out in the early '80s or whenever it was, late '70s, probably early '80s, competing with all the synthesizer bullshit that was out at that point, which I personally love, by the way. It was a huge contrast, especially with how produced it was. You know, it was the production on those albums, while seemingly overproduced, I think was pretty insane, especially for the time period.
Huh. I remember not liking the production.
Yeah,
at all.
I remember.
Really?
The production made it
It's
hard to tell like where one instrument ended and one began.
This is true, but you have to serve the song, and if the song itself is saying something, and you don't necessarily need to hear the instruments, just the overall space that they create, I guess. I don't know. That can also be rewarding. Just depends on what you're looking for.
It's always interesting to get a different perspective.
Yeah.
It's very slick, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's very like, hey, you know, we're going to spend millions of dollars on producing this album, and it's going to sound that way. There's not a whole lot of life in that respect, but I think the musicianship isn't there for sure because it's very slick, but I think that the overall result, in my mind, was impactful. Let's put it that way.
It's interesting is when we since listening to guitar solo heavy albums on this podcast since then that we use Pyromania as a point of comparison as this is better than Pyromania because a lot of the time we did that a lot with the Dinosaur Jr. episode.
Yeah.
Dinosaur Jr. had a song on the Road Rash soundtrack.
They did?
If I remember right. Yes, they did.
I was pretty happy with how well that one did. Not only was it our first one to crack 100 downloads while it was current, it's become our most popular episode.
Nice.
At 125 downloads.
Oh,
Nice.
I didn't realize it got that far yet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think we had Jake Duncan on, and yeah, he was a natural when it came to talking on mic. So
Yeah.
Nice. Good deal.
all right, let's get this started.
All right.
Let's get this party started right.
Left.
I went to the war to get more fire to start the war. We should do that album eventually.
What album is that?
Electric Six, Fire. It
I
has
knew it was going to be something I'd never heard of.
it has such great hits on it as Danger, High Voltage, Dance Commander, Synthesizer, and Gay Bar.
You could say something like, hey, you guys ever listen to the album by Blurble called Schmargaflugel? And I'd be like, no, I've never heard of that.
This is a pretty
But
successful.
it sounds like a real thing.
This is a pretty successful album in like the aughts. Like,
Okay.
a lot of people know it.
Okay, I believe you.
Welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dave.
And today we have our good friend, Dan.
Hi.
How you doing today, Dan?
I'm great. How are you guys? Frozen?
Frozen. Looking forward to my vacation.
Let it go.
Trying not to doom scroll too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's tough nowadays.
If I open up any apps that have news on them after 10 p.m., I'm in a bad place mental health wise. It's weird though. Like I can listen to a podcast where they're talking about the news and hear people say that kind of stuff that late and be like, okay, I can mentally deal with this. It's not fine. I can mentally deal with this. But then just seeing it bombard all its way down a screen that seems to be scrolling infinitely is just like, I am in the fetal position now and will be awake until 2 a.m.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, you got to have that context, that shared misery.
Yeah.
You know? I firmly believe, and I am not in support of this administration at all, as you guys know, but I firmly believe that this needed to happen in some way, shape, or form. I just hope that the permanent results are not permanent.
As you said on Bluesky the other day, Dave, we're in the accelerationist timeline.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
This is that one quantum reality that nobody wants to end up in.
Could have had the reality where he died of COVID in 2020.
That's true.
Or the reality where that weird kid didn't miss.
Yeah.
Or the reality where the Borg take over everything. I'll go back. Steve will get that reference.
I think that would be preferable to living under the Trump administration. But let's talk about some happy memories today. Dan, do you remember that time we went and saw Rush on their last tour?
Oh my gosh, I do. I'm wearing the shirt actually. It was 15 years ago. Do you believe that?
Was it really that long ago?
15. No, I'm sorry. It was 2015.
No, it was 2015, but it was 10 years ago. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, 10 years ago.
Dan, me no math. 10 years ago. 2015, yes.
Yeah.
Still a long damn time. Yeah, it was crazy. A lot of fun. I remember that your dad was using his handicap pass and got us some great parking.
Oh, yeah. I always love going to concerts with him because we always just go right up to the front. And
and they played every single song that was our favorite, you know. I remember that because I remember your dad's favorite song is Lakeside Park, and they busted out that, and I knew he was happy as hell, and I was happy for him.
And when I saw it on Setlist FM later, that was the first time they played it since 1974.
Holy crap,
Yeah,
you
so
serious?
it was almost like it was meant to happen.
Wow, that is too cool. And that was the last time we ever saw them.
Yeah.
First and last time for all four of us together, obviously. That was my second Rush concert personally, but what a great show.
Yeah. I want to circle back to my dad's handicap thing because I have a funny story there. So one time we went and saw Grand Funk Railroad and Night Ranger in the middle of Iowa at some weird festival. Like,
Is that the Iowa State Fairgrounds? Because that is the most Iowa State Fair ass lineup I can think of.
It wasn't. It was. I think it was some small town was trying to do like an initiative to get people to like go and spend money in their town. So they had this big old festival, and that band was on it. And I was working at Come and Go at the time, and they just sent out free tickets to anybody that worked at Come and Go. So me and my dad went to see Grand Funk Railroad because I don't think either of us were interested in Night Ranger. And my dad not only used his handicap parking to get us a great spot, but they also gave us our own sectioned off area in front of the stage.
Nice.
Where it was just me and him in a chair.
Nice.
And nobody around us. And I think the guy from Night Ranger thought we were important because he kept coming up to our part of the stage and was like playing at us. So,
These guys must be VIPs.
Thanks, Dad, for getting hit by a truck.
Yeah. Did you throw grapes at the guy from Night Ranger?
No. No, I was a good sport. Even though there's only one original member of Night Ranger left, and it's the bass player. And guess which instrument overshadowed every other instrument that day?
The bass.
Yeah, because it was fine for Grand Funk Railroad set.
Right.
They had a normal sound, but it was all fucking bass. And it almost sounded like I was at like a Weed Eater show, like a heavy like stoner doom show than a friggin' like glam band or whatever Night Ranger are.
I think the cat's having an orgasm.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you keep petting him on his glitch spot. But yeah, to go back to the Rush concert, it was really cool because I think they knew it was their last tour, and they did something like really cool where they started with their most current album at the time, which was Clockwork Angels, and they worked their way all the way back to the beginning. So while they were doing that, they had stagehands behind them that were disassembling their like setup.
Yep.
And then as they were going back in time, they were setting up like previous stage setups. So like, so it started with his current rig, which I think was Geddy Lee's like washing machine or something, or he had a popcorn machine, or because he stopped using like his amps at one point.
Right.
And it like slowly worked its way back to like in the 80s, it was just a giant pile of Marshall amps. And Neil Peart had like this huge kit until it finally ended with the first Rush album, where it was Geddy and Alex with 2 combo amps on chairs, and Neil Peart with a 5-piece kit playing songs from their first
folding
album.
chairs, if I remember.
Yeah.
It looked just beautiful. Perfect.
So it's kind of like a reverse Stop Making Sense, where it starts out with just like David by himself on stage with like a tape player and an acoustic guitar, and then they keep adding.
Yeah. Very similar vibe. One of my favorite shows I've ever been to, and I'm glad that you and my dad were there for that. That was fantastic.
Me too. It was a good one.
Dave, talk about your Rush experience.
I got into Rush in high school. They're the first prog band that I could glom onto because I'm not saying this derogatorily, they're kind of earnest in their cheesiness, while a lot of other prog bands are kind of pretentious in their cheesiness.
Yes.
Not saying that Rush lacks pretension in any sense. Like, you get some word salad songs that pretend they're profound, like The Trees, that aren't really. But, there's something that's really fun about that, too. And also, they, in the 80s, when a lot of prog bands were kind of switching over to poppy new wave stuff, they did it better than most. Like Tom Sawyer is a better song than The Owner of a Lonely Heart by like a wide margin. Tom Sawyer's a pretty kick-ass song, honestly.
I don't know if I agree with that. I see the comparison. I understand that completely, but I'm not sure if I agree that it's better. But yeah, I see where you're going with that.
And so like they were like my intro to prog, because it took me a little while to get into Pink Floyd too, because the only Pink Floyd songs you really heard on the radio were Money and Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. And those kind of got overplayed.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I started with Pink Floyd, but Rush came shortly after it. I discovered them in around the same time as the album that we'll be doing today, but I don't think it was the first one I bought. I think I had their compilation album, Chronicles, yeah. And then
that was my first official album too.
Yeah,
and I may have had like a handful of others, but I ended up purchasing the one we'll be reviewing today, which is Snakes and Arrows from 2004. It was my first Rush album that was current, and I think I ended up buying it because somebody on the Megadeth forums was talking about how great it was, and I was like, oh cool, so I'll go check it out.
Well, that's funny too, because like when it came out was when I was living with the Dream Theater roommate, and he was big into prog, and I did like Rush, and he got the album and he didn't like it and I did.
Oh, funny.
But yeah, no, like
Probably
also
wasn't proggy enough for him.
Yeah, that was probably it, because this album really isn't that proggy. Like, there are some moments where it is, but it's more of a straightforward rock and roll album for the most part, if I remember right. We'll see if I stay to that after re-listening, because I haven't listened to it in a long time. And then but yeah, like Rush was one of the compromise bands that me and that roommate agreed on because yeah, I like the Ramones and Rush. I contain layers. But yeah, and like we liked it, and then like when he got 2112, we also both agreed about everything on that album, which was like, oh hey, this side one multi-song suite is pretty awesome, and then once you get through it, it's like, what the fuck is this shit with Message to Bangkok? But yeah,
which is a classic in its own right, but definitely doesn't fit on that album.
I love that they took an Ayn Rand story and made it good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting too is I read this really cool book a while back called Strange Stars, which is about science fiction and popular music in the 1970s. It's specifically the 1970s, although it starts in like 69 with Bowie with Space Oddity.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really get into the 80s very intentionally.
Control to Major Tom.
Because it doesn't want to, like, because the way things changed in the 80s with science fiction's relationship with everything. But like in his chapter on Rush, like not every band got a chapter dedicated to them, but you know, you kind of have to with Rush. And with Parliament also got their own chapter. Hawkwind got their own chapter, for example. But yeah, with his chapter on Rush, like he like found some interviews with Neil Peart where Neil Peart was like, yeah, I liked Ayn Rand as a writer. I wasn't like fully on board with the political project, and I liked Samuel Delany just as much as a writer and am more interested in his politics too. And it's like Samuel Delany is a gay black leftist, so it's, you know, the Ayn Rand thing was something that, you know, like Rush liked, probably like the idea of like creating something like great and sweeping regardless of what other people think. I can see how that can appeal to a prog band like Rush, especially when a lot of critics at the time thought they were cheesy, which they are, but the cheese was good and the critics were wrong to dismiss it as mere cheese. But yeah,
I think in the time period he came up in, it was probably a lot easier for somebody to read Ayn Rand and not know what kind of person she was.
yeah,
So I think there's some of that. And when it comes to her philosophy about freedom and what's the word I'm looking for? Like individuality.
yeah.
I have some crossover there with her.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think she has this selfish component to it that I think doesn't need to be there.
There's this great podcast called Know Your Enemy, which it's a leftist podcast where one of the hosts though is a gay Catholic who used to be a conservative.
Oh,
And they did a recently, and the other one is a Jewish leftist who grew up in a house that was big on like labor organizing. So coming at things from very different perspectives, but they talk about like an intellectual history, well, like a history of conservative intellectuals, and they did a deep dive on Ayn Rand recently, and they talked about, you know, like the appeal of her around the time she wrote The Fountainhead versus then when she started her weird sex cult, and Atlas Shrugged came out of the weird sex cult period. And so like there was a time when you could see the appeal of her early on in her early stuff, and then things got really weird and uncomfortable.
Well, see, I haven't read it, but from what I understand, Fountainhead is more anti-corporate than anything else, right? Because it isn't it about somebody that feels restricted in his job?
It is about someone who feels restricted in his job, but he doesn't want to build housing for poor people. So there's still stuff in it, but yeah.
Well, I'm glad Neil was able to take that and turn it into a good song about a space council that sucks.
Yeah.
We've taken care of everything. The words you sing, the songs you sing, and the pictures that we plug into your eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, today's album, Snakes and Arrows, this one has a lot of lyrical themes in it that I really enjoy. I think I particularly enjoy like the lyrics to Armor and Sword because they're kind of about how people take their religion, which should have been armor, and use it as a weapon. And then Far Cry, I think, has aged lyrically way too well. And I know, Dan, you have a song on here that you're particularly close to, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. That would be Faithless. Yes. That song spoke to me when I was going through my religious crisis back in the day. And the specific line that really made me feel powerful, like I was, finally in line with something that I could definitely agree with and believe in, was I don't have faith in faith. I don't believe in love. Or I don't believe in believe. That's what he says, sorry. And then he says, I believe in love. No, what is the line? I still cling to hope and I believe in love, and that's faith enough for me. And I was like, yeah, that works. So
yeah. And I noticed he takes on a few of the songs, it has kind of a religious sentiment to it. I'm not religious myself, but
he's definitely a well-known atheist and really has championed that over the years of just, hey, what are you doing? Just do what you need to do what makes you feel like good but right also, and follow your own moral compass and trust it. You don't have to listen to some invisible being in the sky. And as a sometimes doubting, troubled Christian, I sometimes had issues with those lyrics and really wanted to meet Neil and just go, well, no, what do you really think, though? I mean, there could be somebody out there. But at the same time, I realized that he is really saying something important about, y'all need to step the fuck back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really just try to focus on what's right, what feels right.
I also think that there's a significance to when this came out, like 2007. This is like peak, like...
Was it that long ago?
Yeah. War on Terror, George Bush era.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. True. Yep.
I guess it was at the end of it when everyone was starting to get pissed off at George Bush.
There was a lot of
as
zealotry.
They should have a long time before that. But like it was coming off of like years of religion being used as a cudgel to keep people in line politically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, we've only seen that balloon more and more in the last decade or so, and it's mutated into something even worse, I feel like.
Yeah.
It really has.
Something even uglier. Yeah. It was pretty ugly then, but even uglier.
Yeah. For
somehow.
Sure.
I think there's a little bit of a survivorship bias about that makes people not recognize how ugly it was then. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad enough for sure.
Well, conservative politicians at that time were still maintaining the illusion of being good faith actors in the political system.
Oh, they weren't, though.
Well, yeah, of course
another part of that survivorship bias, but they were.
Of course they weren't.
Yeah, like they blatantly lied to get us into a war. So yeah,
they did.
But yeah, like in Rush being kind of like like they're. If you want to use the term broadly, they were always kind of on the right, and that they're, libertarians, but libertarians at that time were very against the war and all that.
Oh, there was a time where I thought libertarians are more of an ally than an enemy. And I think that might still be the case for actual ideologically driven libertarians rather than embarrassed Republicans that like to smoke weed.
Embarrassed Republicans who like to smoke weed and hate trans people.
Yeah.
Because, if you're consistent with libertarian beliefs, you're okay with trans people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let's take a look at the artwork. I'm going to hand this over to you, Dan, to analyze.
Yes. Well, there's a lot of snakes, and there's a lot of arrows.
Oh, is that why it's called Snakes and Arrows?
I believe you're correct.
Well, and Snakes and Arrows is another name for the game Shoots and Ladders.
Yes.
Where you're either moving upwards or downwards, depending on random chance.
Now, Rush went through this period near the end of their careers where they really liked having a lot of realistic-looking pictures in their albums, and really liked that kind of slick production value. Like,
it's kind of part of that era of prog too, wasn't it?
Was it?
If I remember right, I might be talking out of my ass, but I remember.
You're talking more out of your mouth than probably me, because I'm very, I'll just say right now, I'm a huge, gigantic Rush fan and have been for many, many years. So I'm going to be very biased on this podcast. But I do think that specifically this album, the pictures really speak to me as something that I wish that I could have created with my Photoshop skills, which are, mediocre at best.
As much as I make fun of a few specific things about Rush, I really do love them. They are a kick-ass band.
Yes.
I like more albums than I don't like, and anytime and the times when they fail in a direction that they take, it's still kind of interesting. And they were around long enough that you're not gonna always be at the right place, but
for sure.
Yeah.
Was it you, Dave, that said earlier that they were doing new wave better than some of the new wave people?
Better than the other prog people who went new wave.
Oh, better than prog people. Yeah.
I wouldn't say they did new wave better than a lot of the dedicated new wave bands, even though they were more technical about it. Devo and Blondie played new wave better than Rush played new wave, I think. But I think they did I think they were a better new wave band than, say, Flock of Seagulls, who had half of one good album and then a bunch of bullshit.
If you listen to fucking Iran, that guitar solo at the end is mind-numbing. It's just that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
For 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What the hell is this crap?
But they have successfully been able to adapt to the times without not sounding like Rush anymore.
Oh my God.
Many times.
We should, if we did Grace Under Pressure, I would just be doing all the talking, because that is my all-time favorite Rush album by far.
I remember I read an article on the AV Club a while ago. Don't remember what it was called, where it was talking about the intersection between prog and new wave, and how a band that Rush really liked and played with a lot from that era was The Police. And you can really hear that.
A lot of comparisons between the two.
And also and it also explains how their take on new wave on moving pictures and albums like that was kind of reggae tinged.
Yep. Well, that goes to the song that you chose for our Rush medley, which we never actually finished, but is out there somewhere.
That is my favorite Rush song, I think, too.
What's the name of it again? Vital Signs.
Vital Signs, yeah.
The most police-sounding Rush song, in our opinion.
It has great synthesizer work, too.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. I think
when they were recording that song, they had this gimmick where they're like, all right, let's pretend we're not Rush. We're going to call ourselves the Fine Young Gentlemen or something.
I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
I think... I like Geddy Lee as a synthesizer player more than a bass player, I think. I think he's a great bass player, but I think...
That's a strong take.
I think he's done some really interesting stuff with synthesizers.
Fully
I almost wish
agree.
they moved to a 4-piece once they decided to get into them and just gotten another bass player. But yeah.
Keith Emerson, by probably.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. Holy crap. Multiple orgasms at each concert.
Yeah. And then the back cover though, the front, it looks like the game Snakes and Arrows with, there's a Buddha in the background. I think the game originated in India, and so is probably, Buddhism isn't a huge presence in India now, but that is where it started and it's been there. And I think it's been played a lot in India and in Buddhist circles that have come out of that. Then on the back there's a pair of hands holding an arrow and a snake. So it's almost on the front, it's showing, just the up and down movement that the game Snakes and Arrows has, but on the back, it kind of shows it, coming together.
Right.
A unity of life's ups and downs.
But let's speak on the state of those hands. I mean, those are very weathered hands. So it's almost like on the front, you got this slick painting that makes you think, oh, this is a great game. It's going to bring you some nostalgia and as what all the what was the word I'm looking for? Aristocrats used to play back in the day in China or whatever. And, and then on the back, you got these just really weary looking hands just holding this snake and this arrow, almost well, that sucked.
Yeah. Well, it takes kind of a lot of age and maturity to make peace with life's ups and downs.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
how I read that.
For sure. Absolutely.
You have to feel like you've really failed in life to really make peace with the way life changes.
Agreed, 100%. So yeah, I think that's a wonderful take on that.
Let's talk about the production on the album. They began working on the album in January 2006. They did their usual writing method of having Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson jamming out the music while Neil Peart goes off into his isolated corner and works on lyrics.
We'll figure out the drums later. Yeah.
Sounds like this is the first time they worked out of their home studios more than, like an actual studio location. And then I think it's really interesting here. It talks about how Alex Lifeson met David Gilmour while Gilmour was touring and was stopping in Toronto. And I guess meeting him inspired him to write on an acoustic guitar as an indicator of how strong a tune is. And I kind of wish Sean was here right now, because I know Sean mentions that he does that too during his songwriting. So
you can hear a lot of that acoustic playing on the album as well.
It's
very Unrush like.
Looks like much of the album is written in a 3/4 time signature.
That is very interesting to me.
I like songs that are in 3/4 or 5/4, because both of them either feel like they're moving forward or it's just a little different.
Neil Peart came up with the album's title as he worked on the lyrics to Armor and Sword. He'd researched several sources, including the ancient Indian board game Leela, a precursor to modern children's game Snakes and Ladders, and the quote, slings and arrows from the Shakespeare play Hamlet.
Nice.
By the time the album was mixed, the title was agreed upon. Peart wrote that the title was chosen to describe the good kind of faith as being armor, while the bad kind of faith is the sword.
Yeah, that is very 2007.
Yeah.
One thing that I like about the album notes is it says that it was brought to you by the letter S.
Hey, it's funny. That was probably Alex's influence.
That's the thing I like about Alex, is he's the one that keeps Rush from taking themselves a little too seriously.
Yes.
Like, he's the one that's like, hey, let's just have some fun.
Right. Blah, 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 blah.
One of my favorite Alex Lifeson moments is when he was having some guitar issues. He was singing this goofy song while Alex Lifeson was playing this carnival-esque bass line, and he was just going, still no guitar, still no guitar.
Yeah, he was just going along with it.
The lineup on this album is the same as all of their albums except the first one. Yeah. Neil Peart, drums, electric percussion, tambourine, Geddy Lee, bass guitar, keyboards, mellotron, and vocals, and Alex Lifeson on 6 and 12-string acoustic and electric guitars, mandola, mandolin, and bouzouki?
I think that is... Okay, yeah. One of those things, yeah.
Yeah, bouzouki.
Yeah.
It's a medieval-esque stringed instrument. It might be Indian in origin, or
Yeah, it looks Indian.
Yeah.
It says it's from West Asia, Europe, and the Balkans.
Okay.
it's probably
Slavic?
yeah.
Slavic.
Ben
Rico
Mink
Slavic.
appears on the song Faithless, playing strings, and it was produced by Nick Raskolnik. Nick R. Today, we will be listening to a compact disc copy, since I didn't want to pay $300 for the vinyl copy. But we will be reviewing it like it is on vinyl, so let's take a look at the lineup for side 1 here. We'll be dividing it up into 4 sides, since it is a double LP in the limited amount that they released. On this first side, we'll be listening to Far Cry, Armor and Sword, and Workin' Them Angels. You guys got anything to say before we dig into this one?
No, let's do it.
It's been so long, I don't remember a lot of specifics, so we'll see.
All right, let's do it. I remember they turned down, or I saw an interview where they said they turned down a tour with Metallica because they didn't think they were good enough yet. And apparently it was during their period where they were probably they're most on their game. So I wonder if they were just we don't want to deal with Metallica fans.
Offspring not wanting to deal with Metallica fans makes, in the late 80s, early 90s, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much sense.
Yeah.
Well, they would have been Alcoholica back then, so that would have been tough too, I'm sure.
I mean, they both would have been Alcoholica back then.
Oh.
Yeah. And so would all the fans. There would have been a fight between like skaters and metalheads if that would have happened. Like, that would have been a violent show.
Yes, a black hole would have opened up in the stage.
Yeah.
Sucked everything in.
Well, I mean, they gave Metallica fans gave Alice in Chains fans like crap. So
Yeah.
or well, I guess that was on the Thresh of the Titans tour, which would have been Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. So not Metallica, but probably the same fan base.
Yeah.
That's very sad.
It's always interesting that you see like bands like Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax who want to have like fans who like more than one genre of music, but the fans don't give that to them.
Yeah.
No, you mustn't.
It's like the bands themselves are like, yeah, we like punk and rap and grunge, and then the fans, no.
Oh, yeah, like
You like what we tell you to like.
Yeah.
I think Anthrax is one of the first bands that gave me permission to start liking rap.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right, welcome back. That was side 1 of Snakes and Arrows by Rush, which consisted of 3 songs. What'd you guys think?
It was pretty solid side of music. All the songs were pretty different from each other too, which is nice.
I love it. This is when I first got this album. Quick story: when I first got this album back in when it first came out, we didn't have any air conditioning in our house, so we had a little window unit in our room. And I remember laying there late at night with that thing blaring, with this album blaring in my headphones as I laid there at 11 o'clock at night while Naomi was sleeping next to me. And so I have very fond memories of just listening to this for the first time and going, "Oh fuck yeah, they're back!" So yeah. Just the very, very strong 2 opening tracks right there. Very different from each other, but very, very strong.
Oh yeah, like musically and lyrically, all 3 of those songs hit perfectly for me. Like the line in Armor and Sword. I remember you pointed out that you really like it, but it's the line, "No one gets to their heaven without a fight."
Yes.
I think is a very inspirational line. And I know Dave and I both share this opinion, but in our current political landscape, I don't feel like we're going to be able to get out of it by voting. So I think that line could apply to that. No one gets to their heaven without a fight.
Yeah.
We're probably going to have a fight.
Yeah.
That brings up a line from my undercover brother, Dave Chappelle. "Hey, y'all, it's revolution over this bitch."
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, all 3 of those songs are fantastic.
Yeah. My favorite of the 3, before we get into a little more details, is probably going to be the first track. I think also because I think it's just such a strong opener. But yeah, I appreciate how it's not just the same thing 3 times in a row, that they're all pretty interesting, and yeah, they feel like they belong on the same album, which is hard to pull off, just like to jump around that much, but to feel cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even within the songs themselves, they jump around quite a bit in ways that lesser bands would have bungled up, I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like all of the key changes and time signature changes don't... sometimes when we've been listening to some technical but not like well songwritten prog albums in the past where like some of the changes are like, what the fuck, that feels random.
Yeah.
None of that, like it all flowed in here. It was mature musicians who knew how to make that kind of thing work and serve the song, not be like, look at us showing off, we can do this because we can.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, like there's a moment in Armor and Sword where it kind of abruptly shifts to a kind of a more modern metal sounding guitar riff, and while it is sudden, it just works really well.
Totally. Yep. The whole song is dark, but then it goes just a little bit darker in that change up there, especially with that descending bass line.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a bit. Yeah. But yeah, do you want to go song by song now?
Yeah, I'm bringing up the lyrics to Far Cry here.
Far Cry was a great opener. I liked how growly the bass was. Like Rush's bass isn't always growly. It's always dexterous, but it doesn't always have like that snarl to it, you know?
Agreed.
aggressive sound to it. I thought this one was really cool. It sounded a little bit industrial in the way the guitar was played, and then like that drony electronic part in the bridge.
Yep.
I like it that a band that can play a lot of notes is still willing to drone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's one of the best opening tracks I've ever heard. Like,
Yeah.
the way the guitar just slams during the opening is just.
It's a lot less complicated than most Rush songs, which is I actually think starting with like a very straightforward rocker is a great way to start an album too. So it's like, no real notes, nothing different I would want about it.
Yeah. It's interesting to me how much I relate to this song as a millennial. From their point of view, I think they're all boomers probably, right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. They would have probably been born in the 50s or 60s.
But not bad boomers. They're good.
No, yeah,
boomers.
they're just old.
I'm just talking about generations.
Yeah.
But the line, "Ooh, it's a far cry from the world we thought we'd inherit. It's a far cry from the way we thought we'd share it." It just seems like something that I hear a lot from like our generation, like me and Dave's.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying I'm from a different generation than you guys?
You're Gen
You are.
X.
Yeah. You are firmly Gen
Oh,
X.
fuck you guys. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, that's too much.
No, I knew it was
more
Gen X.
indifference.
Yeah.
More indifference, yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. Yeah, there is a lot of, hey, this isn't the way it was supposed to be. But like in a way that's like not what you would typically associate with a boomer nowadays. There's too many black people in the world.
Yeah.
Needs to be more white.
Yeah.
No, these guys were saying the exact opposite. This is not the way we thought it was going to be.
Well, there's one of my comfort songs for With How Bad the News is there's this punk artist, because this is his solo stuff. He's had bands too in the past, but Jeff Rosenstock, who has a song called "The Future Is Dumb" or "Future Is Dumb." And this kind of reminds me of that, like the world isn't what we thought it would be, and like that song has lyrics like, "Have we grown accustomed to the fear?" That type of thing, have to live with this another fucking year. We'll do a Jeff Rosenstock album later, but it's just that same kind of feeling. It's like feeling of like we've been lied to, we've been betrayed, like we were promised something like much brighter and we never got it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of this article I just saw, and it was about this fish tube system that went over a dam, and it allowed a fish to like go into the tube, and then they got shot over to the other side of the dam like Futurama style, and it got fucking defunded by Doge. And I saw a comment that I thought fit perfectly, where it said like, if Elon Musk was really some big technology nerd, he should be creaming over this.
Yeah.
But instead he defunds it.
Yeah. Oh,
so the future is stupid.
yeah, the future is stupid. One thing that I will say, I'm going to try to, there's this podcast I listened to called True Anon, where it started off as, being like, okay, there's the real conspiracy theory, which is Jeffrey Epstein. And it looks at, it started like looking at his relationship to like major political players and all that, but now it's more like just like a general, like left-wing type podcast. But one of their hosts, and now both their hosts, started calling Doge doggy because it doesn't deserve the respect of being called what they call it.
Yeah, true.
And so I'm trying to call it doggy from now on.
You heard it here, folks. Start calling it by its dead name. Never, I guess it's not a dead name.
Yeah, because it never had it initially, but yeah, call it doggy. It doesn't deserve respect. Yeah.
Yeah, but that insults dogs though at the same time. So
Does Doge.
That's true.
I will also say the line, "One day I feel I'm ahead of the wheel, and the next it's rolling over me."
Yeah.
That line is a weekly occurrence for me. So
Yeah. I wanted to talk about that a bit, and Dave, you might be able to back me up on this, but I think there was either a medieval concept of the Wheel of Fortune, which I know sounds cheesy now because we have the game show, but it was a real thing back then.
It was like on the tarot deck, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you start off at the top, everything's going great, things start going to shit, and you get down to the bottom of the wheel, and it's absolute worst, and then you go back around. It just talks about the cyclical nature of life and fortune, basically. And Neil was this is not the first time he's discussed that. There was a song called Between the Wheels came out on Grace Under Pressure. And I don't know if his take on it was the Wheel of Fortune at that point, or more just getting caught between the wheels of a giant moving semi, which is basically our culture right now.
Snakes and ladders, ups and downs.
Ups and downs, exactly. The cyclical nature of life. And so he kind of revisits that here. And so I can just see him as the scholar that he was, drawing from that Wheel of Fortune idea in a lot of his songs. Like, some days it sucks and some days it's great.
Yeah, and lyrically, I felt like listening to this song when I'm on the bottom of the wheel myself, it helps me realize that these feelings aren't permanent. Things will change.
You can get back on.
Yeah, exactly.
The only inevitability is change.
Yep.
Next song, lyrically, I particularly love is Armor and Sword.
Yeah.
This one, I think where Neil was at, he was kind of describing it as people using faith as a weapon when they should be using it as armor.
Yeah. I didn't hear the acoustic guitar writing influence on the first track, but I definitely heard it on this one. I could tell this one was written first on an acoustic guitar.
Yes, for sure. There were some acoustic elements in there in some of the transitions, for sure.
Yeah. It was very moody.
Yeah. I would go so far as to say that maybe this is the best Rush song ever made in terms of just the completeness, the cohesiveness, the message, the mood, everything about it. I think you could make an argument for this being the best Rush song ever, or the pinnacle of Rush-ness, if that's a thing. It's a thing now because I just said it was.
We are going to have a disagreement about this, but I liked how stripped back some of the production was. Like you could, there wasn't so much going on that you couldn't pick out each individual part.
I can see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I also liked...
There were some quiet moments. You can really hear it come through. Yeah.
I liked how, that guitar solo you talked about earlier, it wasn't, it sounded like it was, tonally dissonant with it, too, in a way that worked. And so I liked...
Yeah.
I liked that, too, as a way to kind of, pull you back in and, make you pay attention to what was going on.
Exactly.
Every time it could have, started to drag, something changed in a way that made sense and drew you back in.
Yeah, it's a dark, unsettling song, and I think his solo really just leaned into that in a way that I don't think I've heard Alex do a lot before. I love Alex, first of all. He's one of my favorite guitarists ever, but sometimes his style is a bit flawed.
There's almost like a grunge solo.
Yeah, there's a sloppiness to his playing at times, but also he knows how to use that in a way that really speaks to the song itself, and also balances out Neil's precision and Geddy's precision. So that I appreciate, but definitely here I think he really just nailed it with that solo.
I feel like every time he's sloppy, it doesn't feel like it's on accident though. But yeah,
I think that he's sloppy on purpose because he doesn't care.
He definitely doesn't care as much as Neil or Geddy. But yeah,
he's kind of.
He's the fun one.
Yeah. He's the fun one. Yeah.
He's just
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
To circle back to the production, I feel as far as it's probably one of the best, if not the best sounding Rush album.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'm now kind of wondering if Alex was in a different band with different people. I don't think he'd do prog.
He did have a side project called Victor.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. One song was two women gossiping, and it would get interrupted by Alex just going, "Shut up!" And it was called "Shut Up, Shutting Up."
There's a clip of him just yelling "shut up" to some girl in the front row at a concert because she's just being annoying, just doing some random noises, and he just keeps going, "Shut up."
Must go to show you how annoying she must have been.
To make him mad.
Yeah, well, that you're in a rock and roll show,
right?
And the person on stage can hear you,
right? Exactly. Not only hear you, but think you're annoying to the point where he has to go, "Shut up." I just wonder what she was doing.
Yeah.
This one, I think you guys were talking about how the lyrics were very much of their time, as far as this was the end of the Bush administration and the state of the world at that time. And I think a lot of that was people of we'll say evangelicals at that time were very racist against Muslim people, and they were using their faith as a weapon against them. And I feel like that really comes through in the lyrics on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I can even visualize a Crusade era like warrior being a menace, like when thinking about these lyrics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like you can picture the kind of person who would say the kinds of things these lyrics say ironically, earnestly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll move on next to Working Them Angels. This one, obviously very inspired by his journeys across the country on his motorcycle.
Poppiest song so far.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like Tom Petty.
I could hear that, yeah.
I like one of the things that really reminded me of Tom Petty was like kind of like that ringing acoustic guitar, kind of like in Running Down a Dream.
And we're gonna have to do a Tom Petty album sometime.
Running down a dream. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite guitars songs to play in the band that I used to be in.
Nice. I like Tom Petty quite a bit.
Get that 12-string. It's fun.
This one also reminded me of my recent drives to the country where I was just visiting small Nebraska towns, and everybody was looking at my Instagram like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just driving around.
Yeah.
That was so cool. I was just sitting there watching like, what the fuck is he doing? This is cool.
Going to this little storefront in this town where the speed limit suddenly drops to 15 miles an hour after you're going 55. And you have to
engine braking.
Yeah. You have to slow down real fast, or the one cop in town is like sitting there waiting to give people tickets. Yeah.
Sure.
I found some pretty interesting things. There was a moment where I pulled into a town and it was referring to some settlement that was up north that like people used to live to, and they had to leave because the river started rising. And I couldn't find the settlement that they were talking about, but I found a point where I was looking at the Missouri River and I was looking across at South Dakota, but I could see like the ice floating down the river, so that was really cool.
That's
cool.
And I found a house that was like completely fallen down, and I went and explored that. And yeah, that's all on my Instagram page. And at some point, I want to visit these towns in more detail because I've noticed that every single one of them has like a museum. So I'd love to go there and document and like even look at that kind of stuff. So
and then write an album about it.
Yeah, I could see myself doing something like that.
Didn't Bruce Springsteen do a Nebraska album?
He did.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can be like, no, this is Nebraska.
And the big hit off of that album was named after that famous Nebraska town, Atlantic City, which is a great song. It's one of Springsteen's best songs. I just think it's funny that Atlantic City is off the Nebraska album.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we got Bruce Springsteen, and our brothers across the river, Iowa, they got Slipknot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I push my fingers into mine.
This one, you can really feel the weight of Neil's. What's the word I'm looking for?
Percussive playing?
No, I mean like lyrically, like
emotionally.
Okay.
Yeah, emotionally, you can really feel the weight of it.
Yeah,
and you know, not before this album, but the one before it, he dealt with tragedy and basically quit Rush. And I think a lot of the songs that he wrote since the passing of his family were some of the best lyrics he ever wrote.
Oh, for sure.
Which unfortunately came at the cost of his family. But
right, yeah.
I think he's better when he's personal and not quite as like abstract theory a lot of the times too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So that was side one. We're going to move on to side B here. We got Larger Bowl, Spindrift, and Monkey Business.
The main monkey business.
The main monkey business, that should be. Does it just say monkey business on there?
Yeah, it does.
Oh my goodness. They've no.
Discog.
As a purist, I'm going to raise some hell there.
Excuse me, okay? It's supposed to be
The Discogs page I pulled up has the right one. That's interesting.
Oh, funny.
I wonder if there was a printing that listed it wrong.
I'll bet you it did. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's right.
That kind of stuff happens more than people realize.
All right, you guys got any other thoughts on this side before we move on?
Nope. I'm ready to go.
All right,
We'll get it started though.
Yeah, me
do it.
too.
And we are back. What'd you guys think?
Solid side of music, different vibe from the first one. A little like slower, darker, and moodier. Like if I were to compare it from to one song from the first side, it would be like it fell more in line with Armor and Sword than it did Far Cry or Working Them Angels. Mm-hmm. Like it was kind of expanding on kind of what Armor and Sword was going for.
Yeah, I agree. It had kind of a similar vibe to that song. Like I noticed there were some moments that reminded me of alternative music, like from the 90s, specifically Spindrift, and some moments on Made Monkey Business. But yeah, overall, great side of music.
Agreed. There's a lot of. We're going to wait to go into the specifics, but in general, I think Rush has a lot of like, let's start things off serious. Just let them know that we mean business. And then about 3 or 4 songs in, they usually have a song that's like, all right, let's have some fun.
Yeah,
and I think that's very, very much true here because even just the title of the instrumental just really speaks to, okay, we're gonna have some fun with this shit, and you can tell that they did.
Yeah, I think Dave, you mentioned that Main Monkey Business is probably the most 70s prog that they've sounded so far.
Yeah, definitely, easily. But I'll get a little more into that once we get to it. It was largely due to one instrument, but yeah.
I guess track by track, Larger Bowl. I really like the lyrics on this one. This one, I think he's speaking towards class divide.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think the title is, maybe y'all can explain the title to me, but I think it's one of the dumbest titles in the history of Rush. It's not a very overwhelming title. It doesn't make me go, oh, this is going to be a great Rush song. It's like, what?
I don't know. They've had a few bad titles over.
I don't know, man.
Titles like Bytor and the Snow Wolf, Passage to Bangkok,
Snow Dog.
Yeah.
Passage to Bangkok. Yeah, but that one actually says what the actual song is about. I mean, we're going to Bangkok. This one's like, what? The Larger Bowl?
If I had to guess, it's some people have more resources than others.
Yeah.
They have a larger bowl
of resources. Yeah. I just think it could have been a better title, but that's a silly
Xanadu.
little nitpick. I know, but that's about Xanadu. It's supposed to be. I mean, this just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I like this song. I like kind of the country drawl to the whoa-whoas at the beginning and then going into the acoustic guitar kind of. Yeah, it kind of makes sense as a follow-up to kind of like the Americana rock of Working Them Angels to then go into like something that starts more straightforward country and then does not stay that, but at least it's a good spot for it.
It had a slow build up, which I thought was really interesting. So before it even kicked in, there was a warm up period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think with the themes of this song, if it wasn't already apparent, I think this shows that he's disavowed the selfish virtues of Ayn Rand.
Yeah.
Since he's pointing out that there are people that live in gated communities and people that don't have anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
It's a very different from the trees in terms of what it's trying to say about class divide. Yeah.
Like, I mean, the little line, why such different fortunes and fates? Some are blessed and some are cursed. Some live behind iron gates while others only see the worst.
Yeah.
Very class conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, maturity could be part of that too. Yeah. And like just seeing different people, different experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've been to several countries at this point, so I'm sure that they've seen a lot of that.
Yeah. That also means they're not just, going from arena to hotel if they're seeing this in many countries too.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And you know that they would. They're not the kind that would do that. So,
Well, I have to imagine Neil driving through communities on his motorcycle. He's probably seen a whole bunch of.
Oh, he's probably seen some hollowed out, devastated American and Canadian towns from doing that. Yeah.
oh, for sure. Yes. For sure. Yeah. You drive through and you're like, what are these people doing? How can they live like this?
Like, well, the opioid crisis hit this town. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, one of the most interesting places I visited and just like randomly driving is I drove through Cairo, Illinois, which at one time I think could have been the competitor to Chicago. Like they were placed on a really good spot on the river, so they were making a lot of money off of like ferry traffic.
Yeah.
And what happened eventually, though, is the drive for ferry traffic went down, I think, after they built a bridge or something, or the railroad system. And they went from being a candidate to being Chicago to being a town where I think a good portion of the buildings are abandoned and there's a lot of poverty there. So I imagine Neil's seen quite a few communities like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has. Yeah.
Next song, Spindrift. I think this one had a kind of a alternative flair to it. When we were listening to the intro, both you and I said Soundgarden and Sonic Youth.
Yeah, like the tape feedbacks, like the tape distortion and feedback stuff at the beginning. That sounded kind of like Submerged. And, yeah. But then, like, once it got started, it was like the most metal album on the record so far. But then, like, that outro, and then, like, all the, like, ambient feedback noise in it was, like, Rush doesn't usually do a lot of that kind of stuff. That's more... That's like they don't usually do like noise rock type stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and as far as like the main riff went, there were a lot of like tritones and stuff like that, so it had a slight doomy vibe to it. Lyrically, I'm reading the lyrics, and it seems to be an expression of frustration. I'd say. Did you guys pick up anything?
I did not pick up anything specific.
I have an issue with these lyrics, and again, speaking as a humongous Rush fan who has loved them for years and loves Neil's lyrics, I know that Neil's lyrics can sometimes get
Ponderous,
get a little ponderous and get a little pretentious, but also very simple. And so there's like this. He's trying to compare what it seems to me like is frustration with his partner at that point, which would have been his new wife by now. Just what am I supposed to say? What are the words to answer you when you talk that way? Like maybe she'd said something that he didn't like or that triggered him in a certain way, and he just doesn't know how to respond to it. And he's comparing that to just like how the wave tops on the ocean look all chaotic, like... I don't know what to do with it. This is nothing I can do. I can't grab onto this.
I want to write a song about a disagreement without starting a fight. Yeah.
Well, I get a sense that Neil is probably a neurodivergent person. Since after he got off stage, he'd avoid fans and was very uncomfortable in social situations. So I think as a neurodivergent person myself, I can probably relate to that. Maybe it's kind of I don't know how to talk to you and you don't know how to talk to me, and it's frustrating, but we both love each other.
Yeah I agree. The overall what he was trying to say here is a very important thing to say, and obviously it was very near and dear to him, but I just think it's heavy-handed at times.
His lyrics at their worst can be heavy-handed.
Yes.
I think most Rush fans will acknowledge that, yeah.
Years ago, I heard this, and I hated this back then. It made me bristle with rage, but it's like, Rush is exactly the kind of band you get when you let your drummer write the lyrics. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And then years later, I was like, oh, yeah, I think I understand now.
I always thought it was interesting that Rush was one of my dad's favorite bands because, according to him, he's told me that, like, when I've said, like, nerdy music shit to him. Like sometimes he'd like just shrug at me and be like, "Dude, I was just in it for the parties, man."
It's just not party music to
What
me.
parties were you going to
Yeah.
where they're listening to Rush?
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
My dad was very much the cool car football playing jock, very unlike me.
Interesting.
So yeah, I thought it was
I never knew
interesting that Rush was one of his favorite
that.
bands.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, the nerdiest of the prog bands, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by far.
Yeah, like
By
you know,
absolute far.
like even like King Crimson had like that aloof art school thing that made them not quite nerdy, that made them a little cooler. Like Pink Floyd had crossover appeal to all kinds of genres that a lot of prog people wish they had. Yeah.
Was
It's
it
just
that
like,
movie
yeah.
Fanboys where they listened to Rush the entire time?
Yes. Yeah, where it's like the Rush themed van, and like the one like normal guy in the van is like, can't we have a little variety? And then the guy driving is like, Rush is variety, which it is, but I wouldn't want to make a 3-day road trip listening to only any one band.
No.
Lyrically, I think it's all right, but as far as musically it goes, I think it's really dark and moody, and I
Yeah.
fucking love that.
Musically, it's a lot more interesting than lyrically, which fair enough. A lot of songs are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an anxiety-induced intensity. It just feels like you're about to fall off a cliff. So, and I'm sure that's exactly what they were going for. So,
Yeah.
in my mind, they accomplished that.
Yeah.
Next song, Neil's worst lyrics.
The main monkey business.
Yeah. Well,
In terms of Rush instrumentals, it's in the top 50% for me. Like they've done a lot of. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying they've done a lot of instrumentals.
that sounded
Yeah.
so.
I'm not trying to damn it with praise.
No,
either. It's just like
that
yeah.
sounded so.
yeah,
Like what?
yeah. No, it's like it's in the. It's one of the better ones, but it's not like the 2112 Overture for me, which is like the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it's like, it's a solid instrumental. It's not one that I instantly remember though, like 2112 Overture or YYZ.
Okay. I disagree completely.
Okay.
I think that this was the pinnacle of all the Rush instrumentals, which obviously they have quite a few over the years, both new and old. And it really feels like that they were just leaning into their experience and their competence in not only their instruments, but also just their compositional ability. And I think a lot of it maybe was very spontaneous. And that really speaks to a good musician who has a lot of experience and who has, what's the word I'm looking for? Immersed themselves into this process. You can really hear it there, that they're just seamlessly, effortlessly going through all these different time changes and just together. I think it's just absolutely fascinating, and I just think this is a downright banger. I love this song.
It's the one that sounds the most like 70s prog out of any song on the record so far. That is, to me, that's the most noteworthy about it, is the one that it sounds the most like their their true roots, because their earliest stuff is like blues rock, but
very, very Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but like this is the one that sounds the most like they sounded when Neil got comfortable in the band.
Right.
So
yeah,
like
I would agree.
Third or fourth album onwards.
Right.
Yeah.
Time signatures all over the place.
To me, like, I liked how snaky the bass was, which is good for a song or for an album called Snakes and Arrows. But like for me, one of the thing that made it stand out to me, and the thing that kept me paying attention to it as an instrumental piece, was the mellotron, which is also a very common instrument in 70s prog, which is part of why it felt that. Another part was like how the guitar and the drums interacted. But yeah, it was a good instrumental. But I don't think I saw it as, I see it as highly as you did.
Interesting. Which I think reflects a lot of other people's opinions about this album. When it came out, Malignant Narcissism, which we'll visit later on, the other instrumental, or the third instrumental on this album, the final one, was more deeply regarded by a lot of people. And I listened to the album and I was like, why? I mean, it's a good song. It's definitely unique, but this song, but that's just one man's opinion.
Steve, your thoughts? Where do you sit? Who do you side with in this?
I'm a little closer to Dan. I think it was a very interesting instrumental. It had a lot of moments in it that I think were heavier, which are missing from some of the classic Rush instrumentals. And as a heavy music connoisseur, I find that appealing. I thought the bass, like you mentioned, that the other instruments were very 70s inspired, but I thought that the bass sounded something more like you would hear in like a 90s alternative album, or maybe like in a Black Sabbath album if you go back then, but it created a kind of atmosphere that I thought was kind of unique. And then as Dan mentioned, there were multiple moments where there were time signature changes, and you even pointed out at one point one that seemed like it shouldn't have worked, but it did.
I'm trying to remember now. I don't remember.
You're kind of immersed in it, and you're going like, this part shouldn't be happening, but it is.
Oh, yes. Neil was he was accenting a different beat than what he had been doing previously. I remember that now. And it almost sounded like he started drumming on the wrong accent and just couldn't stop because they were just taping. But it's Neil, and he did it on purpose. And that flavor right there, that change from what he had done previously, was just, in my mind, genius.
All right, so that's the end of side B. We're moving on to side 3 here. So we got The Way the Wind Blows, Hope, and Dan's favorite, Faithless.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Limp Bizkit have a song called Faithless, or was it just Faith?
Faith, which was a cover.
Oh, okay.
Which was a cover of a better song. Because I got to have faith. It would be nice.
So this song is from the other perspective,
yeah,
not Limp Bizkit perspective.
Right. Or the George Michael perspective. Yeah. Well, I guess it would be terrible. Yeah, I remember, like, we'll get into it a little more when we get to it, but I remember having a disagreement with my Dream Theater roommate about Faithless, so it'll be fun to get to it. Like, I liked it. I was the one that liked it. So yeah.
Interesting.
All right, well, let's listen to it. And we're back. What'd you guys think?
Pretty good side. I think there was one song that stood out the most out of all of them, though. Faithless was definitely the highlight here. Like, the other two songs were fine. I don't have anything like really bad to say about them. It's just, this is the side that had the song everyone was talking about, and the other two songs didn't really come up to its level completely.
Yeah, I thought Faithless was the best song on the side, but I did really like The Way the Wind Blows. It had a really good like bluesy guitar lick, but then it went into a song that almost sounded like something that could have been on Counterparts, and I really like the alternative sound of Counterparts, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And Hope, I thought, was a good little distraction between songs. It was a interesting Alex Lifeson solo piece that didn't overstay its welcome.
No.
And then, it led into probably one of the better songs on the album.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, like, to go through, The Wind Blows, good song, fine. Like, nothing wrong with it. I liked how it was kind of stripped back compared to a lot of the other ones. I'm noticing, like, more songs on this sound like 90s alt rock than they do like prog, which is fine, which is good. That might be why the album worked for me when it didn't work for my roommate who's big into Dream Theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good song. I liked it.
Yeah.
Hope, didn't overstay its welcome. I think if a song like that is that big of a left turn, it's good to keep it short and sweet. And so I thought it worked really well for that. I liked the bluegrassiness to it. Like, it wasn't just country. It felt like the kind of music that people in Kentucky or West Virginia play on their porch.
Right.
Yeah, with the addition of
down.
other like country-esque songs on this album, I thought it fit in with that really well. And Dan, I think was it you that noted that there was a 12-string doing the rhythm and the guitar was and a 6-string doing the lead?
Dave first noticed that.
Oh, Dave
Yeah.
noticed it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of strings.
Yeah, a lot of strings.
18, if my math is correct.
And then, of course, the song that we've all given praise to, Faithless.
Yeah, it was like a really well put together song. Like all the little like background synths and like guitar feedback were good. And like when they started fading out the main stuff and that was all that was left, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I Will Quietly Resist is like a pretty relatable lyric. I try not to be too quiet in my resistance to the bullshit, but there's too much going on. You can't like actively resist everything. So you need to find the big fights, but then like quietly resisting the little ones. So I like that. Yeah.
And if anything spoke to Neil's activism, it would be that line, "I will quietly resist," because that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this time, I think the lines, "I still cling to hope and I believe in love, and that's faith enough for me," is a good thing to keep in mind during these times.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it seems like everything might be hopeless right now, but humans have gone through periods of time that seemed hopeless and everything worked out. So if you're feeling that way, I'm understanding of it. I think we all are.
Yeah.
But that said, I think we should.
You have to hold on to hope because what's the point if we give up? Which I think also naming the instrumental right before it, "Hope," is kind of saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you saw that picture I took from that book I just read today?
What was that?
The one about the Spanish Civil War. It was by from No Pasaron by Matt Christman. It's the experiences weren't the whole of the experience of the Republic at war. There was corruption, sadism, defeatism, incompetence, and bad faith. But these moments and the sacrifices they inspired were a part of it. The key that kept people going under tremendous suffering and overwhelming odds, more real than any dream of a perfected future. Our task is to live in such a way that affords us access to that feeling, to have our own experience of total faith in others and total faith in our collective cause.
Yeah. Nice.
That,
nice.
you know, that reminded me of that, having just finished that book today. But yeah.
Nice.
Dan, did you tell your connection to this song earlier, or?
He did, and I think it was on mic. But yeah. But I think you wanted to get into it more later.
So yeah, there's so many things.
Thoughts.
There's so many things I could say about this song that I'm kind of struggling to find out where to start, and so I don't know if I'm going to say much. But hope, that line just really speaks to me. Of all the Rush songs that I've heard over the years, over different periods of my life, up periods, down periods, dark periods, that's the line that came to me at the exact perfect time that spoke to me the most. Was "I still cling to hope and I believe in love, and that's faith enough for me." And I was like, fuck yeah, man. Fuck yeah. That is everything right there. That is my Bible. That is my line that I live by. No matter what happens, as long as you're clinging to that, it's going to be okay. And I was reminded of a line from a movie, something about hope, and I had to look it up. Shawshank Redemption, when Tim Robbins' character is writing to Morgan Freeman's character after he busted out of prison. He said, "Remember, Red, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies." If I could speak more on this song,
Please.
Yeah.
okay. The verses and the pre-chorus were good. I liked them. It was very adequate Rush material, which is obviously way better than a lot of other bands, even by itself. But the chorus, for me, musically and lyrically, was just the perfect combination of just that oomph and that transcendence that I love getting when I listen to Rush songs. I'm kind of a weird guy when it comes to music. Sometimes I listen to music for specific moments in a song rather than the whole song, and I will latch on to certain moments and be like, that's just perfect. And this would be an example of that for me. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, all right. Well, we're in the final stretch here. We're moving on to side D. We got Bravest Face, Good News First, Malignant Narcissism. Hey, that song's about somebody right now. And then Hold On. Before we move on to that, though, Dan, you said you saw something interesting about one of the earlier songs about its structure. That was interesting?
Yes, the larger bowl. And it follows a poem structure called a pantoum. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. It's a Malaysian poetic form originated in the 15th century, made of 4-line stanzas, where the second and fourth lines of each stanza become the first and third lines of the next. And that explains perfectly the repeating pattern of the lyrics in this song. I thought that was incredibly fascinating.
That sounds like a very Neil thing to do.
Yeah, it really does.
Well, all right. Let's listen to this side D, and then you can go home and make your wife happy. And we're back. All right. So, yeah, that last side, I think it ended with a bang for sure.
Yeah.
I thought the instrumental was the most interesting instrumental on the album, personally.
Yeah.
I could see why your Dream Theater roommate preferred that one. Overall, I thought Bravest Face was a little weak, but the rest of the side I thought was fantastic.
Interesting take.
Yeah. Bravest Face, yeah. Like, it was, like, there's no song on this album that's worse than fine. Bravest Face was a fine one. Yeah.
I think it was a good song, but seemed a little repetitive with the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I don't think that really takes away from my enjoyment of it, but one of the songs has to be the worst one on the album, and that one for me just happens to be that one.
Yeah, I did like some of the sparseness at the beginning and the end, to make it feel like the whole song was sparse in retrospect, even though that like there's a lot going on and a lot of it. Like I thought that worked pretty well, but yeah, it just didn't stand out as much as some others.
Yeah, it definitely had that twangy country feel to it in the beginning and the end as well, which is cool. It was a good change. It was definitely something like you felt like they were experimenting with, and
yeah. If they pared this down to a single LP worth of songs, though, it would be one that I would cut.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I always thought this was one of my favorite songs on the album.
Oh.
Or as Dave would say, the top 50%.
yeah.
As far as the album as a whole, what I think is kind of interesting about it is it has a little bit of all of their eras, and then some new elements. Like I think the country element's pretty new.
Yeah.
So it mostly sounds like their 90s era mixed with a little bit of earthy bluegrass and or country rock. And
Definitely some blues too.
yeah, and as somebody that loves 90s alternative rock and like southern rock music, that probably explains why I was drawn to it so heavily back in 2007.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because I think I was getting into like the grunge bands right around the same time. So yeah. But yeah, let's go through track by track here.
Okay.
We already talked a bit about Bravest Face, but it, like I said, it's a fine song.
It's fine. Yeah.
But Dan, you have a dissenting opinion, so please.
Let me go ahead and bring up the lyrics so I can refer to them more accurately. But call me a sucker for these kind of lyrics, but I really like the I've talked about Neil's lyrics sometimes being like a little over the top pretentious, but these are some of the lyrics that I thought were just simple in their contrast with each other, but also very meaningful, very, very right to the point, maybe. In the sweetest child, there's a vicious streak. In the strongest man, there's a child so weak. In the softest voice, there's an acid tongue. In the oldest eyes, there's a soul so young. There's a lot of good stuff going on here. You feel like Neil was writing this down, just kind of thinking to himself, oh, yeah. What rhymes with tongue? What rhymes with wheel? On the smoothest ride, there's a squeaky wheel. So it's like, it's just kind of saying, you know, that famous line from Princess Bride, you know, life is pain. Anyone telling you differently is selling something. So it's kind of like he's trying to say that here. Just, you know, put on your bravest face. Might as well just get up and face it. It's always going to suck in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Next song, Good News First.
There was some cool textures in here. Getty used the reverse echo in the verses, the poltergeist effect, I called it, with that lead-in echo, which is eerie, which I'm sure is what he was going for. I really dug that. I still don't quite know exactly what this song is about. Curious to hear your guys' thoughts as what you thought the lyrics were referring to specifically.
Need to look at them, I think. Yeah,
The one thing that caught me was, you know, the one with the stars that revolved around you. And I'm thinking, is he talking to a specific person or referring to a specific person or just us as a race? I don't know. You used to feel that way, the saddest words you could ever say. What was he referring to there? I've always wanted to know. Was he referring to the fact that that person said they used to feel that way and now they don't feel that way anymore, like they've lost faith or they've become jaded? Or is he referring to something else that person say?
And the title, too, it's almost like it feels like it's referencing, like, saying the good news to cushion the blow of, like, the bad news that is the main thing that, you know, like the most significant thing to pay attention to. Yeah.
So it goes back and forth. It's tempting with songs like this to put a political bent to them or more broader general societal or cultural bent to what he's trying to say or what he's trying to get across. But then you see these personal lyrics like, let's see, where was that one?
I think this is a more personal lyrics song.
It looks more personal to me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I always get this feeling that it's supposed to be something more like, you know, as a society. But when you hear lyrics like this, the worst thing about it all is that you've never been right. And I'm still not really sure what started that fight. That tells me it's more of a domestic squabble kind of song.
Yeah.
Maybe he's calling out the fact that his partner or someone that he knew was always saying negative things or was always focusing on the negative and never was like, what's going good in the world?
Yeah.
I want to hear about that shit because you're dragging me down here.
Yeah. I did like the like big like effects driven like guitar on this. It almost reminded me of like early U2.
Yeah.
Which I know it's fun to shit on U2, but they did have some bangers, especially early on.
I fucking love U2, dude. I don't care.
This was the one that also had some like bluegrassy guitar parts like interspersed throughout it as well, like in between like some of the heavier.
Yeah, I like that bridge. Was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, that bridge is great. Musically speaking, I love the chord changes on that. Some would say they never fear a thing. Well, I do. That just, and the acoustic guitar going on behind that adds to that kind of just driving flavor. I love that. That speaks to me.
Next song, the final instrumental, Malignant Narcissism.
I liked it. It was the best instrumental, in my opinion.
It had a really active, interesting bass line that was very un-Getty-like, and like you said, more Primus or
Faith No More. Yeah.
And you could tell the band was having a blast playing this one.
Yeah, I like the clickety clack that the drum track had too.
Yeah,
it's like that sound they got, which isn't like any other drum sound on the album. I liked the way the guitar played with it. It sounded like they were having a lot of fun in the studio. It was also like heavy as fuck.
Yeah, and probably the best pick they could have made for a penultimate song, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Dan, what were your thoughts? You specifically liked a different instrumental better.
I want to. It's obviously it's Rush, and it's a brilliantly written instrumental with a lot of really impactful, powerful parts to it that really sometimes just feel like, oh, look what we can do, which detracts from it a little bit for me. You know, we've got a couple Neil drum fills that felt, you know, like they didn't serve the song. But then it's like, what is the song trying to say? Maybe it is serving the song. Maybe they were just having fun, and maybe that's what came out of this. And if that's the case, then how am I to argue with that? I didn't care as much for this one as the main Monkey Business.
As far as the song's energy goes, it reminds me a lot of bands like Dream Theater, where they're doing a lot of acrobatic stuff, but it seemed like they knew when to like switch to a different part or tone it down a bit, or more importantly, like when to end it. I mean, it's only a 2-minute song. I think a band like Dream Theater would drag that on for like 6 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just get full on pretension boners.
Yeah.
Then the last one, Hold On, I think was a really good closer.
Yeah, great title for a closer too.
Is it Hold On or We Hold On? Because I'm seeing two different things here.
Oh, it might be We Hold On.
Oh yeah, it is.
I have Hold On in the more correct.
Google says We Hold On. So
Their website says We Hold On.
Okay.
Interesting. This is one of the songs that, for some reason, I haven't really listened to since the album came out, because I always get to the point of the penultimate song, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this record for now. So I never went on to We Hold On, or very rarely. So listening to it again was interesting, just reminding myself, oh yeah, this song exists.
Well, just because of the nature of some longer albums, sometimes I'm intimately more familiar with 3/4 of it than the last part of it. A lot of times you put it on and then I don't know, something happens, or you're on your way somewhere. And,
right.
So yeah, this one is probably the least fresh out of all the ones I've listened to. But you know, the lyrics to it really relatable.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's a really good song to consider the lyrics to today.
For sure.
You know, I mean, the line, how many times do we tire of all the little battles, threatened to call it quits, tempted to cut and run? You know, that's how I feel about society right now, you know?
Yeah. Every fucking day.
Yeah. So
how many times do we swallow our ambitions, long to give up the same old way, find another road to take? That's how I felt my entire life.
Yeah. For sure, lyrically speaking, it definitely says a lot of good things here. Musically speaking, I think it's dare I say, forgettable as a Rush song. But lyrically, yeah, the lyrics of this one have aged very well.
And then that's it. As an album, this is one of my favorite Rush albums. I don't know if I could pick a favorite Rush album, since they have so many like distinctive periods, so it kind of depends on my mood, but you know, I put that up there with Signals and 2112 and Moving Pictures. You know, they have so many great albums. It's
Amen.
rare for a band to release an album this good
This late in their career.
And even Geddy himself said that it was the best material that he felt he had written in quite some time. So they were really feeling it. And he talks about doing the music for Far Cry, and he said that he and Alex were just jamming, and he calls it roasting. We were just roasting this riff. They found that riff and they picked up on it, and they just ran with it, and they were just having a blast with it. And it really comes through, I think. They were feeling it this whole album.
Yeah. And you know, I think about it in context of the album that's before it and after it, which are both fine albums, but I don't think either of them reached the same level of creativity that this one did.
Agreed.
And then as far as like its place when compared to like anything from the 90s, like I think Counterparts and Roll the Bones are both fine albums, but I don't think they come anywhere near the musicianship of this one.
No.
I think you'd have to go back to maybe Grace Under Pressure before you get one that's this interesting.
Yeah.
I would agree completely.
And they had some time to cook on it too, which I think helped.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, and as sad as it is, I think Neil's personal tragedies almost breathed new life into the band once he came back.
Yeah.
Because he came back with all sorts of new experiences and new viewpoints on life.
Exactly.
I also think the band probably needed a little bit of a break.
Yeah. For sure. Get those creative juices going. And Vapor Trails is a great album in itself. A lot of great tracks on it. But you can tell that they kind of needed that as kind of a rough draft, so to speak, before they really put out this one. So I think if this one had come out right after the hiatus had ended, then maybe it wouldn't have been so good.
Yeah. And then I think the one after it had a lot of the same ideas. It just wasn't executed as well. So,
Yeah.
And like I said, that's also a fine album. It's got a lot of great moments on it that I like just as much as moments on this one. But as far as like a full cohesive album, I mean, we talk about songs that we would cut from this, but I mean, overall, there wasn't like a moment on this album where I was like, I'm bored. Let's skip it.
No, yeah, like it's good. It's a good double album. I was just talking about a hypothetical single LP version.
Yeah, for sure. I can tell you what my favorite tracks would be if I was to cut it down to, as you say, a single album. It'd be Far Cry, Larger Bowl, Armor and Sword, Faithless, Main Monkey Business, probably Bravest Face, although I could trade that for Good News First as well. And I don't know, just for uniqueness and because I'm a closet blues fan, which is anybody who is a blues fan will tell you, it's more of a feeling than a genre. You feel the blues. It sounds pretentious.
Yeah.
But really it's true. I mean, when you're listening to the blues, man, it's like otherworldly. It's like you go in a different dimension. And when that first riff hits on The Way the Wind Blows, I'm just like, oh fuck yeah.
Oh, it's really, really tasty.
It
blues.
is.
And it reminded me a lot of the cover album they did in 2004, where they covered like Cream and Buffalo Springfield and whatnot.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you're not into Rush and you like alternative rock and country, this one has a lot of moments that you'll enjoy.
Yes, for sure.
And as far as lyrically, I think these are some of the best lyrics that Neil ever wrote. I'd say, if not one of their best albums, definitely the defining one of this era.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah, and it definitely feels of its time, but not in a way that makes it feel dated. It just makes it so that if you were alive in 2007, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember 2007.
Right. Yeah, if we were to split the Rush into two different camps, like the pre-tragedy and the post-tragedy for Neil, I think this would have to be the pinnacle of those later albums.
Yeah,
by far. Of course, there's only three, but
Yeah.
When I feel like Rush has three eras, like their early period, their 80s new wave period, and then I guess maybe four, because like the 90s albums like Counterparts and Roll the Bones, I think are very 90s, and then starting with Vapor Trails, they kind of go into their modern period. So,
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I think it's very rare for a band to be putting out quality albums this late into their career.
Yeah. There's an argument to be made that the harder edged era of Rush really started with Counterparts, which was really an amazing album with an amazing first track. Just every song on that album is just.
Oh, I love Animate. It's
balls to the wall. Yeah,
it's
it's a great song. So I feel like that was when they were like, fuck this, we're going to do some hard shit now. And then it just, everything kind of flowed from there.
And another thing I like about Rush is they seem to evolve their influences with the times. Like I remember they were talking about being influenced by Tool at one point.
Yes.
So,
which is interesting because obviously Rush came out way before Tool, but yes, I can just picture Rush just sitting there in their humble Canadian way, listening to Tool, going, "Oh, hey, this is great stuff.
Yeah,
maybe we should do something like that, eh?" And of course, famously, Neil Peart and Danny Carey from from Tool were good friends and corresponded a lot, so there was obviously a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah, and there were some moments that vaguely reminded me of Dana Carey on this.
Yep, for sure. So Neil was never the kind of person that would say, "Oh, I'm just the best," and I'm not going to ever. He always was looking out for trying to alter his drum style, trying to refine it, and I think he picked up a lot from Danny Carey in that way.
Well, I remember. I think it was during this time period he even started playing with Was it Buddy Rich?
Yeah. No, I don't want to say it was Buddy Rich, but yeah, it was somebody he was like, I really want to learn how to actually play the drums. And he taught him how to hold the sticks differently. And you could see that in his live playing. He would do the traditional stick grip that, drumming purist or someone who was actually trained to play the drums would use. And he found that he had more control over some of the things that he was doing. So you'll see him in the middle of a concert switch up that grip because he's doing something a little more finessey on the snare.
Yeah, when we went and saw him, I purposely looked out to see if he would do that. And it was Buddy Rich, the Buddy Rich Big Band.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
As time passed, he began to emulate jazz and big band musicians Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. In 1994, Peart became a friend and pupil of jazz instructor Freddie Gruber. It was during this time that Peart revamped his playing style by incorporating jazz and swing components.
Yeah.
I love jazz and swing components.
It just goes to show you, even that late in his career, he was not resting on his laurels. He was not. He was a drummer's drummer by far.
Yeah.
Far and away.
Rest in peace to a legend.
I don't think he was the best drummer of all time, but he is personally my favorite drummer.
Who
by
would be
far
the best drummer of all time?
I think it's Danny Carey personally, but Danny's just on another level. Neil obviously came before Danny, so Danny was obviously to a point influenced by him. Just like there's guitarists that are probably better than Jimi Hendrix nowadays, but you still got to put Jimmy up on that pedestal because he was one of the first. So I think that's kind of the same with Neil. Personal opinion.
Well, that's that.
Rest in peace, Neil. He died the day before my daughter was born. So Steve texted me that day and he said, well, your daughter's going to be the reincarnated spirit of Neil Peart. And I was like, oh, man. Yeah. But also, yay.
One day your daughter's just going to be playing crazy, awesome guitar solos.
Yep.
Or not guitar, drum solos.
Either one, yeah. I'll be like, holy crap. Neil? Is that you?
Well, that was Snakes and Arrows. You can listen to all three of us in a project called Lucid Fugue.
Including our theme song.
Yes, you can find that all on lucidfugue.bandcamp.
Non-Euclidean pornography.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You can find that all at lucidfugue.bandcamp.com or any major streaming service. But Dan, when you're not making music with us, you make music by yourself.
I do. In the bedroom now. I have a project called Shrouded. It's an instrumental project, kind of in the vein of Mannheim Steamroller, Tangerine Dream. I call myself the Generation X. What was I forgot the word I used. The Generation X heir apparent to Mannheim Steamroller and Tangerine Dream. So I use a lot of those sequenced elements, but I also use a lot of live instruments as well. So check it out. It's everywhere. Shrouded Day, Spotify, iTunes, all those places, but definitely on Bandcamp as well, because that's where I get the most money from it. And I'm about to release a 15th anniversary edition of my very first album. I can't believe it's 15 years ago. That's ridiculous. But Legend of the Shadow Touched revamped edition is coming out soon, so keep your eyes peeled.
All right. And then if you want to listen to me and Dave in a band, we're in the Alliterates, and you can check out my single Incompatibility under the banner Kill Rock. And that's it. Thanks everybody for joining us, and Dave,
catch you on the flip side.
Thanks for having me, guys. All right. Out. Oh, we don't have the vinyl? Ooh, I'm talking. I'm currently talking. I am talking. No, Neo. I'm saying that you don't have to. What are you saying? I can dodge bullets. No, Neo. I'm saying when the time is right, you won't have to. I'm only here to plug the release of my 15th anniversary edition of my very first album.
Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve is a Floof Goof Studios production. You can find us on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can find us on Bluesky at KillRock Music and Beastmaster General. Check out our musical projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, on all major streaming platforms, and links to each at my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. This also includes my past projects, Megaton and Valley of Shadows, and my current solo project, Kill Rock. You can also find Dave's past project, Gong Farmer, at GONGFERMOUR.bandcamp.com. Thanks.
Everyone we worked with is dead.
Really ripped.
Yeah.
I need to change my pants.
Check.
Leonard Bernstein.
I hate it so much I skipped the whole Destroyer.
Allow me to play you out.
Dirty Dave just pooped his pants.
Yes, indeed.
Perfect hooker murdering song.
Kick out the jail, motherfucker!
Are you ready?
Oh, Steve's got some cheese.